Any doubt in chapter number 4, motion in a plane, vectors?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So do these questions, and in the term 1 exam, again I am repeating, you will keep a rough paper or a rough notebook along with you. Short answer questions, you will solve it. If it is a numerical, you will solve it in the rough. Okay, and you will write only the answer along with its unit. Only the answer has to be written. Okay, no formula, no calculation, nothing has to be shown over there. Okay, so today very few students are there. Chaliye, let's continue with the next chapter, laws of motion. Okay, in this chapter, CBSE has deleted all the 3 laws. Newton's first law, second law, third law. Okay, only for this year. Due to COVID-19, 30% of the syllabus is deleted. So first law, second law, and third law, all the 3 laws are deleted. The statements with examples, impulse, all those topics. Okay, let's study in short. In brief, we'll study about it. Newton's first law. Okay, it is the law of inertia. This you have already studied in class 9. Law of inertia, which states that a body which is at rest or in uniform motion tends to remain in the same state unless and until some external force is applied to change its state. Okay, the body which is at rest, it will remain at rest only, and the body which is in uniform motion will keep on moving with that constant velocity. Okay, till some force is applied to change its state of rest or uniform motion, external force is applied. Okay, now here we know that any body which is moving with a uniform velocity, it comes to rest after some time. That is due to the opposing force, which we call it as the frictional force. Due to that force, it comes to rest. Otherwise, if there is no opposing force, no resistive force, no frictional force, the body which is moving with constant velocity will keep on moving. And this property of the body, we call it as inertia. So that is why Newton's first law is called as inertia. Okay, again it is of 3 types: inertia of rest, inertia of motion, inertia of direction. Inertia of rest means the body which is at rest, it will tend to remain in the state of rest only unless some force is applied to move it. Inertia of motion, the body which is in motion will keep on moving unless some force is applied to stop it. Inertia of direction means a body which is moving along one direction will keep on moving along the same direction unless some force is applied to change its direction. Okay, then few examples. A person in a bus suddenly starts, he gets a jerk. Okay, it's the same way when the bus suddenly stops also, brakes are applied, he gets a jerk in the forward or in the backward direction. Okay, so this is about first law. Second law, it gives the formula for the force, which states that the force is the rate of change of linear momentum. The external force, the unbalanced force applied, is equal to the rate of change of linear momentum. Momentum is mass into velocity, which is a vector quantity having the direction along the velocity vector. Okay, this quantity of motion measured, which is called as the momentum, mass into velocity. Unit is kg meter per second. Dimensional formula is mLt raised to the power minus 1. Okay, and it is a vector quantity, so its direction is along the velocity vector. Now the second law states that the force is directly proportional to the rate of change of linear momentum, dp upon dt. Okay, substituting, this is the force, and force is acting along the direction of change in momentum. Okay, substituting P here is equal to m into V. M is outside the differentiation, constant quantity, dv upon dt, and dv upon dt is acceleration. So force is also equal to mass into acceleration. Okay, either you can write down force is the rate of change of linear momentum, or the force is equal to mass into acceleration vector. So force is a vector quantity which has a direction along the acceleration vector, or you may say along the change in momentum. Okay, this is the Newton's second law. Okay, from this Newton's second law, we see that only when the acceleration is there, then only the force will be there. That is, the force produces acceleration. Force produces acceleration. If a body is at rest, no acceleration, that is, if acceleration is equal to 0, then force is also equal to 0. No acceleration, no force. Okay, when can the acceleration be 0? Body is at rest, acceleration is 0. So it means no external force is acting on it. Okay, if the body is moving with a constant velocity means v is equal to u, v minus u is equal to 0. So if the body is moving with constant velocity, then also the external force is equal to 0. So acceleration 0 means the force, no external force is acting on the body. Now, when can the acceleration be 0? If the body is at rest or in uniform motion, moving with a uniform velocity, then the acceleration is 0 and hence the force acting with will be 0. So a body which is at rest, no external force is acting on it, or a body which is moving with a constant velocity, no external force is acting on it. Okay, so not necessary that the body is at rest, then only the external force is 0. The body moving with a constant velocity, then also the acceleration is 0. So here the SI unit of force is Newton. SI unit of force is Newton, where 1 Newton is equal to okay, 1 Newton is equal to 1 kg into 1 meter per second square. That is, if 1 Newton is the force, when acting on a mass of 1 kg produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. So 1 Newton is that force. This is the SI unit, and the CGS unit is, that is, in CGS system, the unit is taken as dyne. 1 dyne is equal to, in CGS system, what should be the mass? Mass into acceleration, the formula is the same. But mass should be in CGS system, acceleration, the unit of acceleration should also be in CGS system. In CGS system, mass is measured in grams and the acceleration in centimeter per second square. 1 gram into 1 centimeter per second square. So 1 dyne is the force, which when acting on a mass of 1 gram produces an acceleration of 1 centimeter per second square. Okay, these are the absolute units. Gravitational unit is also there. Gravitational unit, these are absolute units. Okay, and the gravitational unit, kg weight or kg force, kgf. Okay, which formula will be used for the gravitational unit? Force is equal to m into g. Which acceleration will be acting? Acceleration due to gravity. Okay, so 1 kg force is equal to 1 kg mass. Okay, and how much will be the acceleration? Acceleration due to gravity, which we know is equal to 9.8 meter per second square. So 1 kg force is 1 kg into 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, kg weight, 1 kg weight or 1 kg force is equal to mass into acceleration due to gravity. Mass is how much? 1 kg, and the acceleration due to gravity is 9.8 meter per second square. So how can we define this gravitational unit of force? 1 kg force is that gravitational force which when acting on a mass of 1 kg, how much acceleration will be produced? 9.8 meter per second square. So these are the absolute units in SI system, in CGS system. This is the gravitational unit in SI system. Okay, in CGS system, it will be grams force. Leave it. Any of this, all these topics are not there. Still, just to proceed, I am teaching the basic. Okay, so these are the absolute units and this is the gravitational unit. Now let's find the relation between them. 1 Newton, how many dynes? Convert this Newton into dynes. 1 Newton we know is equal to 1 kg into 1 meter per second square. Okay, kg has to be converted in grams. 1 kg is 1000 grams, that is 10 raised to the power, in order to bring it in CGS system. 1 kg is 1000 grams and 1 meter per second square is 100 centimeter per second square, that is 10 raised to the power 2 centimeter per second square. So this is 10 raised to the power 5 gram centimeter per second square. And what is this gram per centimeter per second square? It is dyne. So 1 Newton is equal to 10 raised to the power 5 dyne. The relation between Newton and dyne is 1 Newton is equal to 10 raised to the power 5 dynes. The same way we can convert kg force in Newton. 1 kg force is equal to 1 kg into 9.8 meter per second square. So this is equal to 9.8 kg meter per second square, which we call it as Newton. So 1 kg force is equal to 9.8 Newton. Okay, so these are some of the units of force. Second law states that force is equal to the rate of change of linear momentum, or you can state it as force is the product of mass and acceleration. Okay, then these are the SI units, and force is a vector quantity whose direction is along the direction of change in momentum or along the direction of acceleration. Okay, and these are the units of force. Okay, dimensional formula, mass into acceleration, m l t raised to the power -2 is its dimensional formula. Okay, this is second law. Here in this second law, one small topic was taught, one small definition, impulse. Impulse is defined as force into time interval. When a large force is acting for a short time interval, okay, like when you hammer on a nail, a large force is applied for a very short time interval. This effect is called as the impulse. So impulse is equal to force into time interval. Force into time interval is called as the impulse. Unit will be Newton into second, which is the same like momentum. Newton kg meter per second square, you will get it as momentum only, the unit of momentum. So it means impulse and momentum are related. How they are related? Impulse is equal to change in momentum. Impulse is equal to change in momentum, that is final momentum minus initial momentum. That is why the unit and the dimensional formula of the impulse is same as that of momentum. Okay, so impulse is the change in momentum, or you can write down as it is a force into time interval. Okay, then Newton's third law, which states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, where action and reaction are acting on two different objects. Okay, action and reaction, if they are equal and opposite, it means if they are acting on the same body, then the net force will be always equal to 0. So these action and reaction forces are acting on two different objects. Okay, so many examples you have already studied in class 9. A book kept on a table. The action is weight of the book acting on the table. The table is also exerting an equal amount of force on the book in the opposite direction, which is the reaction. So action and reaction forces are always equal and opposite. That is F1 vector, which is the action, will be equal to minus of F2 vector. F1 vector is equal to minus of F2 vector. That is action is equal to reaction in the magnitude but in the opposite direction. This is the Newton's third law. Okay, so all these three laws deleted. Okay, you don't have to study. Okay, now here we'll start with a small topic, apparent weight of a person in a moving lift. We'll find out the apparent weight of a person in a moving lift. Let's start from this topic. Okay, a lift is which is moving up or down with some acceleration. The person, what he feels the weight, that is called as his apparent weight. He will not feel his actual weight. Actual weight stand on a weighing machine, okay, kept on the ground, stand on it, that will give the your actual weight. But if that weighing machine is kept in the lift and the lift is moving up or down with some acceleration, then it will not read your actual weight. The weight will be different. Either it will be more or less. That we call it as the apparent weight. Okay, so apparent weight in moving lift. Okay, and how is it measured? The reaction of the floor on the person, that is the apparent weight. So write down the weight felt by a person, the weight felt by a person in a moving lift, the weight felt by a person in a moving lift is called as is apparent weight, is called as is apparent weight, which is measured by the reaction of the floor, by the reaction of the floor on the person, by the reaction of the floor of the lift. Okay, by the reaction of the floor on the person. Okay, now different cases here we'll study. The first case, lift is at rest, lift is at rest. Okay, his actual weight W is equal to mg downwards. This floor is exerting a force on the person R in the upward. This is the measure of the apparent weight. This R, which is the reaction of the floor on the person. This is the apparent weight. Now the lift is not moving at all. So R is equal to mg. R is equal to W. Okay, this W is what? Actual weight. So his apparent weight is equal to his actual weight and W is equal to mg. So the apparent weight equals to his actual weight if the lift is at rest. Second case, if the lift is moving up, if the lift is moving up or down with constant velocity, that is, in the lift there is no acceleration. The lift is either moving up or down with a constant velocity. No acceleration in the lift. Constant velocity means the acceleration is 0. Then also the apparent weight is equal to his actual weight. Okay, as there is no other force acting. So the apparent weight is equal to his actual weight. But now, if the lift is moving up with an acceleration, lift is moving upwards with constant acceleration A. Okay, this acceleration is constant, with constant acceleration A. Now let's see what will be the apparent weight. Okay, actual weight W, mg downwards. Floor is exerting a force, reactional force, which is the measure of the apparent weight in the upward direction. Now the lift is moving upwards with an acceleration. In these cases, the lift was, there was no acceleration in the lift. When the lift is moving up with an acceleration, the total force is acting in the upward direction. What is the force on the lift? M into A. This M into A should be equal to the resultant of these forces. Okay, M into A is the total force, which should be equal to the resultant. And when we find out this R, that is the reaction of the floor on the person, that will measure the apparent weight. So from here, M into A should be equal to the resultant of these forces acting on the person. Okay, as the lift is moving up, which force will be greater? R will be greater than mg. So what is the resultant of these forces? R minus mg. What will be the resultant? R minus mg. And this R, reaction, it measures the apparent weight. So R is equal to, bring it here, m into g plus A. So his this is his actual weight plus m into A. So his apparent weight increases. That is, the apparent weight is more than his actual weight. So the person feels heavier. The person feels heavier. Why? Because his apparent weight will be more than his actual weight. Okay, the fourth case, the lift is moving down with an acceleration. Lift moving down with some constant acceleration A. Okay, W, mg acting downwards, reaction upwards. Now the lift is moving down with an acceleration. So what is the total force? M into A. This M into A should be equal to resultant of these two forces. And what will be the resultant? As the lift is moving down, which force will be greater? W will be greater. Mg will be greater than R. So here in this case, the total force M into A is equal to W minus R. Okay, that is, bring this R over here. R is equal to W minus MA. And what is this W? Mg. So the apparent weight will be mg minus ma. Mg is his actual weight. Mg minus m into a. So his apparent weight is less than his actual weight. So the person feels lighter. When the lift is coming down with some acceleration, his apparent weight is less than the actual weight. Whereas when the lift is moving up with an acceleration, his apparent weight will be greater than the actual weight. Mg is his actual weight. So R will be greater than W. Here R will be less than W. Okay, one more case here we'll discuss. If the lift mechanism fails, lift mechanism fails means the lift is moving with a string, with a rope which moves on a pulley. If that string breaks, okay, anyhow that string breaks. So what happens? The lift is also coming down with an acceleration. A is equal to G. What happens if the string of the lift breaks? Then the lift itself comes down with an acceleration. A is equal to G. So what is the total force? Mg. Okay, so here A is equal to G. What will be his apparent weight? R will be equal to mg minus G. That is, apparent weight will be equal to 0. The person will feel weightless. Okay, if the lift mechanism fails, that is, the string of the lift breaks, that is, the lift itself is coming down with an acceleration equals to this. A is equal to G. So write the fifth case. Okay, lift mechanism fails. Okay, that is, string of the lift breaks. So what happens? Here, lift itself is coming down with an acceleration equals to D. So R is equal to, this is the formula, M into G minus G, which is equal to 0. Okay, so the apparent weight is 0. It means the person feels weightless. So write down, so the person feels weightless, 0 weight. Okay, so these are different cases. Apparent weight means the person what he is feeling the weight, which is measured by normal reaction of the floor on the person. Lift at rest or moving with constant velocity, apparent weight will be equal to his actual weight. But if the lift is moving up with an acceleration, then his apparent weight increases. Okay, apparent weight is more than the actual weight. And if the lift is coming down with an acceleration, then his apparent weight is given by m into G minus A, that is, which will be less than his actual weight. And if the string of the lift breaks, then the apparent weight will be equal to 0, that is, the person will feel weightless. Okay, note it down. Note it down. Okay, after noting down, let me know. Okay, the same way if you are sitting in a merry-go-round, when it goes in the upward direction, you feel heavier. Okay, why? Because that is going with some acceleration in the upward direction. Then R will be, the reactional force will be equal to M into G plus A. So you feel heavier. And if when the merry-go-round is coming in the downward direction, okay, then the apparent weight will be less than the actual weight. You will feel lighter. You must have experienced, okay, on the Dashera Mela, all these swings come. When you sit on that, you can feel this. When it goes in the upward direction with some acceleration, then the apparent weight will be more than the actual weight. And when it is coming down with an acceleration, the apparent weight will be less than the actual weight. Okay, written.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, one more topic here is connected motion. Connected motion. Okay, the equations we'll discuss tomorrow. Here, just write down what is connected motion. Okay, in this, two masses are tied to the ends of a string. Two masses, M1 and M2, are tied to the ends of a string, and this string passes over a frictionless pulley. Okay, this string is passing over a frictionless pulley. So when the masses are released, the heavier mass will come down with some acceleration and the lighter one will go up with the same acceleration. Why? Because the string is the same. Okay, suppose M1 is greater than M2. Okay, let M1 is greater than M2. So what happens? This will come down with some acceleration. That is, the force acting on it will be M1 into A, and this will move in the upward direction with the same acceleration. So what will be the force on M2 mass? M2 into A. Okay, then we'll draw the forces acting on this. This force should be equal to the resultant of the forces acting on it. Okay, so we'll continue tomorrow.